spotlight on Connected to India.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on your show.
Your trailer of Savarkar is looking absolutely powerful and fantastic, which is streaming exclusively on ZEE5 Global. So congratulations for that, and look forward to watching it over the weekend. So first question, before I go on to talking about the film, bit of a personal one. Your father is a doctor, your mom's a social service, in social service, your brother's an engineer and he lives in Singapore. And I'm connecting with you from Singapore. How did you get into films?
My father is a doctor and my sister is a doctor, so that's nepotism over there. So I wanted to avoid nepotism and get into film. I always wanted to be an actor, and I went to sports school, RAI. It's a school in Haryana. It's a sports school. So I went there, and they had a very we had a very good dramatic department run by this chap called Aaron Lewis, who died recently. And we found out that he never took any fees to teach us. He used to throw out the textbooks and make us read other books in the library. And he used to have these big plays, which he used to do with live horses and stuff on stage and all that. It was really mesmerizing. But he cast me and used to throw me out. He used to say that I'm a distraction for the girls.
I was surprised that.
Yeah, but I always climbed trees and balconies and stuff to see the rehearsals. So it was a bit of an eklavya thing. And then subsequently, I acted in other plays which were not directed by him, but other people who had worked with him. And then I directed my own plays and stuff like that. So I've been a part of the performing arts as an enthusiast since I was in class 6 or 7. And then I became a professional in 2001. And ever since I've been one. I always felt I used to drive taxis and I used to talk to people who did different jobs. So my conclusion was that if you really loved something that you do and you could make a living out of it, then you are not working for a single day. You're just doing what you love and somebody's foolish enough to pay you for it. So that was one of my things. As in school, I used to act and ride horses. And today I'm doing the same two things still. So that's how I'm one of the very few lucky ones who's being able to make money out of what one loves to do.
What you absolutely love to do. That's correct. And this is the first film you're directing on your own. In fact, when the film started, you were an actor, then you became a co-writer, co-producer. How did that happen?
Well, it happened because I was already committed and lost a lot of weight for the movie, but obviously people around me were not. They did not give me a proper script, so I co-wrote it, and then the director seemed disinterested in this subject and was treating it like any other masala movie. Their previous producers fired him, and that the gun was pointed towards me to become the director, and I did take it on. And as a director in this movie, I have broken a lot of sound. I've broken the fourth wall. My editing patterns are very new. My camera angles are very thin. It's an aggressive movie. It's more like a gangster movie that I've made because these people were a part of secret organizations and were taking up smuggling arms and shooting the British and all that. It is an alternative, not an alternative, but the take about the Indian freedom struggle, which you do not know. We have all been taught that we got our freedom through only non-violence, which is not the truth. So what did the other people do? It's a story about that. And since we are speaking to people in Singapore and the whole Indian subcontinent is represented there in the diaspora, I would like to say that it is the history of Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India, because a lot of my movies before 1947, and it is the story of the country before that, which is common, or which was common to all three countries. And so,
India.
And also, the way I've made this movie is very international, so you can show your non-Indian subcontinent friends with pride, and they will, understand it and probably get to know more about India than just Mahatma Gandhi and non-violence. In fact, when I was in Australia, I used to show in the 90s, I used to show Hindi movies to my Australian friends, and they used to laugh at them. And somewhere at that time, I had vowed to myself that I would make a movie which these people will also sit quietly, shut up and watch.
And do you plan to do a screening for them sometime in Australia? for
Oh, I
this?
think, no, they will see it there with the ZEE5 Global. It goes to 190 countries. So they will see it there. I think a few of them saw it in the theater there. It was on over there. And they quite loved it. Yeah, even in India, uh, 90% of shows, in the end of the 90% of shows, there used to be an applause, which I have not seen in any movie.
You were talking about you've taken a slightly different approach to the treatment and your direction. There isn't so much of documentation of videos of Savarkar as there is about Nehruji and Gandhiji, etc.
They had a better PR team.
Okay. So how did you get the mannerisms of Savarkar?
There's very few select videos of him,
Mhm.
which I did study in quite detail. And there's a lot of photographs that are there, which I matched my physicality to
Mhm.
him. Uh, and with his big cheekbones, slighter frame, him being very frail in Kalapani. He had jaundice over 4 years continuously. Then other things like he lost his teeth quite early. Uh,
Mm.
and all those things are the ones that I did encapsulate. And seeing the old man, I kind of imagined what the younger man would be. But there is no caricature involved in any of my portrayals, whether it was Charles Sobraj or Raja Ravi Verma or
Yeah.
Inspector Avinash or all the other Sarabjit, all the biopics that I've done. I always try and get the essence of the character, and somehow, in a mysterious way, you become like that person.
Yeah, I get a sense that you clearly related to Veer Savarkar.
You have to relate to the part you're doing, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean to say in context of ideology, because you used a certain tonality that Gandhiji and Nehru had a better PR team, whereas this is a story which has to be told.
I
Mhm.
had to, but I've also seen the point of views of Mr. Gandhi, Mr. Nehru, and all these people. And in the movie Gandhi by Richard Attenborough, there was no mention of Savarkar. In fact, Hindus were shown in a very fundamentalist light, uh, uh, who are these like moronish Nazi kind of people, which was not true. I revere Mahatma Gandhi like anybody else in our country. His contribution to our nation is immense, and I'm not questioning that. But do I agree with his policy of non-violence? No, absolutely not. Because non-violence does not even leave room for self-defense. And in fact, in the movie, I admit, Mr. Savarkar admits to his mistakes about following violence blindly as well. So it's a very balanced take. Whether you agree with Mr. Savarkar or you do not agree with him, that's a separate issue. But to shun him, like I've got a lot of so-called liberal artistic friends who do like my work and do appreciate my dedication and discipline with which I go about my artistic pursuits. But they will not watch this movie because it's about Savarkar. So that much open-mindedness is in the open-minded. I'm quite surprised by. So it is only natural that one has a little bit of a sneaky dig at the popular narrative when you're trying to show an alternative point of view. And all the movies researched, there people pulled out so many fallacies, so-called fallacies in my movie, but I've got proofs for all of them. And in fact for the census certificate, which I had a big problem in getting, I had to provide them with proof of everything. So it's not, I mean, whether he inspired Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, he inspired the entire armed revolution, and there is documentation of it. There is Bhagat Singh's jail diaries full of Savarkar's poems, which he must have learned by heart. He wrote articles about Mr. Savarkar and Madan Lal Dhingra from jail. And similarly with Subhash Chandra Bose, he met him on many occasions. And in fact, Mr. Savarkar's book about the 1857 being the first armed revolution was given to the Indian National Army when they were given a gun and uniform, shoes, and a book. When all this uproar came about, which was mostly because of the unfortunate timing of the release of the movie in the middle of elections, uh, yeah, but those people are never going to accept any other point of view that it was only 2, 3 people through non-violence who got us our freedom, which is not the complete truth. Between 1946 and 1950, 30 countries were given independence from the British colonial Raj, and they had no Mahatma Gandhi or Mr. Nehru there. So how did that happen? So it's a take, whether you agree with it or not, or the facts are research. If there is something you do not agree with, please feel free to go to the net and check it out. I've raised questions, and that's my job as an artist.
I was going to ask you, did you have any doubts when you were taking the role? I clearly get a sense, absolutely none.
There were a lot of doubts put in my head that I should not do this. I'll be labeled as a certain kind of a person, as an artist. I said that's really goes against the grain of being an artist. As an artist, one has to be open to all kinds of ideas and point of views. And I myself did not know much about the man or the armed revolution in such detail. And that my discovery as I researched and made this movie is the same one I've shared with the audience. So I'm unapologetic about my way and line of thinking that I've taken to make this movie and my treatment. Whether you like it or not, agree with it or not, it's absolutely up to you. Nobody's pointing a gun to your head.
Gotcha. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Good luck to you for the film and for a phenomenal career ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Pleasure.